Hi, Debbie Chu here from Chew on Vegan, and welcome back to my kitchen. If you're new here, I'm a plant-based RN and I follow the Starch Solution. I've been following the Starch Solution since January of 2020. The Starch Solution was a program that was developed by Dr. John McDougall, and if you would like more information, I will leave a link to his book in the description box below. On my channel, you will find quick and easy whole food plant-based recipes. So if that sounds good to you, please subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a video, which is every Tuesday and Saturday. You can also follow me on Instagram. And if you're new to this way of eating, or if you're just curious, or maybe you just need some more support, I started a Facebook group. And I will leave a link to that in the description box below. Today is another What I Eat in a Day, following my back to basics using the principles of the Starch Solution. For those of you who are new here, I did gain some weight over the month of July, and so I decided to go back to the roots of the Starch Solution, really dig in deep into the basics, and just stick to that and see if I can lose those last few pounds that I did gain over the month of July. So if you would like to join me in my back to basics, super easy. All you have to do is just join my Facebook group. It's free to join. And in the comments, just let everyone in the group know that you're in. And there you will find a lot of us posting the pictures of our food using the 50-50 plate method and getting back to basics. And if you have any questions, it's a great place to bring those questions. It's a pretty active group, very supportive group, so I highly suggest you join and give it a try. So again, today I'll be showing you breakfast, lunch, and dinner and what I've been eating lately. So let's get started. So for breakfast, I'm gonna start with a chickpea omelet. Yes, I have been on a chickpea kick lately, and that's just kind of how I roll. I find something I like, and then I make a bunch of recipes, and you guys get to benefit from that. So in the bowl here, I have 1 cup of chickpea flour, and I'm gonna add some spices. I've got a little bit of garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and I also put in a little bit of baking powder. And you just wanna give this a nice little whisk. Then I'm gonna add the black salt, and this is what's gonna give it that eggy flavor. And this is purely to your taste. If you've never had it before, you might want to start with a little bit and go from there. And that's about how much I'm putting in. It's probably 1/4 teaspoon. Then I'm just going to add some water because we want to keep this low fat. We are back to basics, so we're going to keep this as low as fat as possible. So I'm going to start with maybe 1/2 cup and see what my consistency is like. Definitely want it thinner than that. And I think a little thinner than that. Okay, so I think this is about right. You want it fairly thin because we want it to have like an omelet-like consistency. So we're gonna go over to the stove and cook this up. So I'm using my awesome Always pan. You want a really good non-stick pan because of course we're not using oil. I'm gonna use a 1/2 cup measuring. So then you're gonna wanna put that in the pan and swirl it around a little bit. And you can make these, you know, big, small, whatever you'd like. So then we're gonna just let this cook. Now you can do this one of 2 ways. I have some veggies here. I have some mushrooms, onion, bell peppers. Now you can mix this in the batter if you'd like, or you can just sprinkle it on now, which I'm gonna do it both ways. So I'm sprinkling this on, and we're just gonna let it cook in here with it, like that. And you wanna use a flexible kind of spatula and just kind of loosen the edges. We're not gonna flip this just yet because I like to cook this as if it was an egg. So what I'm gonna do is, because it's pretty much set on the bottom, I'm gonna cover this and let the top cook. And then I'm gonna show you the last couple of things I'm gonna do. So as you can see, it has started to set up. So to me, that's perfect. And I just want to make sure, yeah, it's perfectly, it's not going to stick. Then what I do is I add a little bit of scallions, a little bit of arugula. I like to add this at the end because it gives it a real fresh taste. And then I just have a little bit of basil. And by the way, this has been on medium heat. You want to cook it on a medium heat. Then I'm just going to add some little tomatoes. And then we're just going to fold it over so it looks like a real live omelet. Look at that. And there we have it. I'm going to put some cheese sauce on there too, but I'm going to make one more. And this time I've mixed the veggies in the batter. Let's see which one I like better. I've done these both ways, but now I think I know why. I get a better form when I put them in after, but that's okay. So we're gonna let this cook for a minute or two. So when it starts to get kind of dry around the edges, that's when I cover it and let it finish cooking. So it looks like this one's set up a little bit. So we're gonna add our scallions, a little bit of arugula, a little bit of that fresh basil, and then our tomatoes. Whoop. And we'll see how this one flips. Might not be as, yeah. I think I cooked this one a little bit longer on this side, but a-okay. And I lost my stuff. And adding cheese sauce is optional, but you can see this was adding it, the vegetables, in after, and so it's nice and smooth. And this one you get a little bit more creative one, a little bit more texture. But I'm gonna put just a little bit of cheese sauce on here, and I think it will just add like a nice little touch here. If you are not on a weight loss phase, then add avocado. And you could, you could add salsa to this. And of course you can interchange these veggies however you would like. Now this made three omelets, and I'll just eat one. Pair it with some fruit. You could have some potatoes, greens. You do have vegetables inside the omelet. I just think this is a really good option. I'm gonna go enjoy breakfast. If my husband's lucky, I'll give him the other one. Just kidding, I'll give him the other one. So for lunch, I'm gonna make some tater tots, and I'm also gonna make some veggies, air fried veggies. So I wanna get the tater tots going first because these are going in the oven. So I just microwaved a bag of hash browns, no oil, it's just potatoes, for a few minutes, and just let them cool off a bit. I think I microwaved them for about 4-5 minutes. And then I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of some gluten-free flour, or any kind of flour you'd like. Just kind of sprinkle it on. This is just gonna help it stick together a little bit better. And if you need to add more, you certainly may. And then just give it a quick stir. Get that flour distributed through all the hash browns. Now we are going to season them up. Teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of garlic powder, teaspoon of onion powder, and some smoked paprika, 3/4 of a teaspoon, whatever you'd like. And then we're just gonna give these a good stir. If you wanted to, you could put some really finely minced onion, and I do that sometimes, but today I'm just keeping it simple. So I've got a lined baking sheet, and I'm just going to grab some of the hash browns here, and you're just gonna kind of form them into a tater tot shape. And we're gonna put those on the baking sheet here. You could also do these in your air fryer, but since I am doing my veggies in there, I'm going to put these in the oven. There you go. I'm just gonna continue making the rest of my tater tots. These are gonna go into a 400-degree oven for about 30 minutes. We'll check them at about 20. If you want, you may have to flip them halfway through. We'll see how they turn out. So while our tater tots are cooking, I'm gonna get my veggies ready. So I've got a zucchini, part of an orange pepper, part of a green pepper, and then I'm gonna get rid of this onion too. I'm gonna air fry this just to use it up. So I'm just going to, cut the veggies up. I'm going to try to make them all basically the same size. Then this onion, I'm just going to use the ends here. Just throw those in. This is a great way to use up any leftover food you may have, veggies you may have. Just throw them in the air fryer. And you could do whatever kind of veggies you would like. I like this combo of peppers, onions, and zucchini. Then I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of coconut aminos on them. I use this instead of salt. Just get them all coated. And then just use a little sprinkle of granulated garlic. And onion powder, of course. And give those a stir as well. And they just all go into my air fryer basket. Try to get them in an even layer. And then we're gonna do these at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes. I'll check them at about 10 and give them a good shake and see how they're doing. You wanna be careful because you don't want them to get burned. Okay, so here's our air fried veggies and our tater tots. They came out beautiful. Dip them in some ketchup. I love how sweet the veggies get in the air fryer. The onions and the peppers and the zucchini, they just get so sweet. They're delicious. Okay, I'm gonna go enjoy my lunch. I will see you all at dinner. So for dinner, I'm gonna get a little fancy. I'm gonna be making some stuffed baked potatoes, or you could call them loaded potato skins, but it's going to be a potato filled with yumminess. So let's get started. I've got 2 russets that I scrubbed, I baked till they're soft, till they're done, and then you just want to cut them lengthways. I decided to get a serrated knife. Just seemed to be better equipped for this job. Oh yes. Okay. So I probably could have let these cool off a little longer, but I'm always so impatient to eat that I don't care. So then we're going to scoop out the middle here. And I'm sure you've done this before. You want to leave enough of the rim so it can hold up when you restuff it. All right. So I'm going to finish the rest of these, but you want it to look like that. Like a little boat. So I've got all the flesh of the potato in the bowl. Now we're going to add garlic. Got a couple cloves, and we've got a tablespoon of mustard. I've got a 1/3 cup of soy milk. I've got a 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. I don't know if I'm going to use all that. Just use your judgment on the nutritional yeast. And then we just will mash this all together. So once you've got this all nice and mashed, then we're going to add a cup of chickpeas, or about 3/4 of a cup, I think is plenty. And then we're going to mash those in there. And by the way, this recipe was inspired by a forks over knives recipe. And you may have to go in with a fork just to kind of get any of the outliers who did not get mashed. Now we're going to add in the rest of our ingredients. Okay, we've got some capers. I told you this was going to be fancy. I've got some sun-dried tomatoes. I will put exact measurements in the description box. I've got a green onion, both the white and the green part. And then I've got some arugula that I finely chopped. You could use spinach, whatever kind of green you would like. The juice of a lemon. And then some salt and pepper to taste. And then you just want to gently mix this in, because you don't want to smush the capers. All right, now we're going to put this mixture back into the potato. I mean, I could eat this just like this. I'd be totally happy. So fill up your little boats. Okay, now we're going to bake these in a 400-degree oven for 20 to 30 minutes until it's golden. While the potatoes are cooking, I'm going to make a kind of a hummus. Now I've been hearing from some of you about hummus with no tahini. So I kind of came up with something and I'm going to try it because I'm trying to be as low fat as possible, and tahini is a little bit higher on the calorie density scale, so we're going to give this a whirl. So we used part of the can of chickpeas for the potatoes, so we'll use the rest of the can. I reserved the aquafaba, the juice from the can, and I'm going to use about a half a cup. Then I've got, about a half a teaspoon or so of garlic. I've got some salt, smoked paprika, and cumin. And then I'm going to put in a little mustard. About a tablespoon. I'm just making this up as I go along. And then juice from half a lemon. Then we're just going to blend this all up in our magic bullet here. You could, if you have a high-speed blender, you could do that too. We're just going to blend it till it's super smooth. And then we'll taste it and see how it worked. So they came out of the oven nice and golden, and I'm going to dollop a little bit of this no tahini hummus on here. Not quite sure how I feel about it. It's good. It's just different, but I think it's good. It's very lemony. I like the garlic in there. And then we're just going to put some green onions on top here just for a little garnish, make it look pretty. Look at these beauties, yum, yum. Now I'm going to eat one of these and then I'm gonna serve it with a nice big salad. So that's how I like to enjoy this. So I have my starch and then I'll have all my greens, and it's really a filling, satisfying dinner. So let's give this a taste. I love it because the skin is nice and crispy, the top is crispy, but then it's nice and soft and fluffy on the inside. So that sauce is a really nice complement to the potatoes. So I just think I have tahini hummus in my head, but I don't think I want to call it hummus. It's just a nice sauce, garlicky, lemony sauce to put on the potatoes. So part 4 of our Back to Basics is done, and this was meant to be a 4-part series, and I probably will continue it, but not every week. But I will continue it in some capacity. We'll just have to wait and see. But I really like the concept of Back to Basics. I like coming up with the recipes, and I love sharing them with you. And if you're like me, you're in it for the long game, so it's a lifelong journey. Please join the Facebook group so you can get in on the Back to Basics and learn about low calorie density, about the Starch solution, and how you can live a healthier life and lose weight. Remember that all my recipes are good for you, they're good for the animals, and they're good for the planet, and what you put on your plate determines your fate and your weight. Until next time, thank you. Hi, Debbie Chu here from Chew on Vegan, and well, there I go again with this. Okay, I'm gonna tie my hands down. The Starch Solution is a program that was developed